Shabbat Shalom. What is the first Parsha that you would teach a child? Some people might say Parshat Vayikra, because it describes the creation of the world. Others might say Parshat Vayikra, because it records the giving of the Aseret HaDibrot, the Ten Commandments. But in fact, traditionally, the first Parsha that a child was taught was Parshat Vayikra. The Parsha we read this week that details the laws of many of the sacrifices. It seems like a strange Parsha to teach a young child. First of all, it is disconnected from our day-to-day lives. We no longer bring korbanot. We no longer bring sacrifices. And also, what is the takeaway that you're trying to give a child by teaching them Vayikra? Perhaps the fact that traditionally a child was taught Parshat Vayikra was really meant to tell us something about this Parsha, that it teaches profound lessons about the nature of what it means to be human, even if that message might be lost on a child in their earliest years. Towards the end of our Parsha, the Torah gives us a list of sins that require one to bring a korban, a sacrifice, as a means of atonement. And towards the end of that list, the Torah tells us that if a person will sin and will commit one of all the commandments of Hashem that may not be done, but he did not know and became guilty, he shall bear his iniquity, he shall bring an unblemished ram from the flock of the proper value as a guilt offering. Reb Levi of Berdichev, better known by the name of his work, the Kedushat Levi, was bothered by these words. Who was this person now who the Torah was telling us had to bring a korban? Even though the Torah tells us it's someone who sinned without realizing it, earlier the Torah has already told us that a person who had sinned inadvertently, b'shogeg, had to bring an offering. So what does the Torah add here? The Kedushat Levi suggests that the Torah here is speaking about a specific kind of sin. He writes that oftentimes when one dedicates themselves to the service of God, when they're involved in mitzvot, when they think about how great God is on a regular basis, it leads them to look down upon their own value, to demean in some way their own self-worth. After all, if the world is so big, if God is so great, what, a person might ask, can I possibly add? What do my mitzvot do or mean for the world? And this is the sin, the Kedushat Levi writes, that the Torah is talking about here. If one comes to think that they don't have value, that their actions don't have value, that their actions don't have an impact on the world, then they have committed a sin, and they need to bring a korban chatat, a sacrifice of atonement, to make up for what they have done. It is a reminder to us that even at times when the world seems large and overwhelming, when events seem to be beyond our control, everything we do, every moment we have, every action we take, has a ramification, has influence, and has great meaning. Shabbat Shalom.